Here's my hot take. The Academy should not give the Best Picture Oscar to the actual Best Movie of the Year. And to understand why, we've got to reveal the secret, true purpose of the Oscars. Okay, so the Academy wants you to think it's on this holy mission to reward the highest level of craft across the industry. But that's not true at all. That's just the hook to get us invested. What the Oscars really is a 3-hour long commercial. And what are they selling? The movie-going experience as a whole. Having a competition that creates this artificial conflict is a great way to drum up conversation. Because when you start making distinct winners and losers about something as varied and subjective as art, then no matter what, there's going to be disagreements. But disagreements are a good thing, because it makes people engage with each other a lot more. There are so many movies I've watched purely just because they were nominated for an Oscar and I wanted to have an opinion about it. And now suddenly movies that normally would never have even been mentioned in the same breath are suddenly in this heated rivalry with one another. But then after months of debating who got snubbed, who's already won too many Oscars, who deserves one, who's too young, who's too whatever, once they actually announce the winners, everybody pretty much immediately forgets. I mean, think back to 2022. I can't remember anyone who was nominated for Best Actor, but I'm sure at the time I had very strong opinions about it. So when you think about it like this, it doesn't actually matter who wins the Oscar, because it's all about the lead up. That's where all the discussion and the engagement happens. Well, everything I just said is true, but only for those of us who are already really interested in film as a whole. And if the almighty algorithm fed you this video, I have some bad news. You probably are already a cinephile. You've probably already watched a lot of the Oscar-nominated movies and have an opinion about who should win. But it's easy for us cinephiles to forget that the Oscar buzz actually very rarely breaks through to the general public. Most Americans probably have heard of a few of the Oscar-nominated films, might have seen one or two, but most probably have no idea what's going on. So this is where the power of the Best Picture Oscar lies. This is the one movie that actually has the best chance to break through to the people who blissfully live their lives outside of the cinephile bubble. So there's actually a ton of power in this decision. And we've determined the real purpose of the Oscars isn't to determine which has the highest level of craft, but to choose a movie that will appeal to a mass audience and get more people going to the movies. So this begs the question, what should the Academy choose? Maybe they should choose the movie that's already done the best with audiences, the one that already has mass appeal. These are your Avatars, your Top Guns, your Dunes, your Barbenheimers. And this year, your F1. Oh, I read that wrong. F1? These are surefire hits, so choosing one of these is probably the best way to get more people going to the movies, right? Wrong! These are the films that have already broken through to the general public, so it's kind of a wasted opportunity. And not only this, these films are usually designed to appeal to the masses from jump, so they don't have as much of a bold, authorial voice. This isn't to say that they're bad movies. I love most of these films. But the fact is, they're executing a tried and true formula really well. So even for the casual moviegoer, it's probably something they've seen before to one extent or another. Okay, so let's go the other route. Maybe we should choose the boldest, most experimental, most crazy, most stylistically different film that we can in order to maximize the chances of blowing the casual moviegoer's mind. These are your Nickel Boys, your Zone of Interests, your Tars, and this year, I'd say Train Dreams. These are all movies that would expose the normal moviegoer to something that they've never seen before and could get them really excited about what cinema has to offer, right? Wrong! You gotta start slow. I don't know about you, but I definitely have been in the position where I've made somebody watch one of my favorite art house films. And then suddenly I'm never allowed to choose a movie again? So what's the Academy to do? Well, the two polarities I've laid out aren't binaries. It's actually part of a spectrum. And right in the middle of that spectrum is the sweet spot, a movie that's accessible, but also artsy. Something that intrigues the casual moviegoer, makes them think a little bit harder than they normally would. But also, it's familiar enough that they don't get totally turned off by it. So, what I'm saying is, what the Academy really needs to reward is gateway movies. What's a gateway movie? You might be asking since I just made up that term. Well, it's kind of like a gateway drug. But good. We've all had a gateway movie. It's that first movie that really kind of opens your brain. For a lot of people, it's movies like Pulp Fiction, Fight Club, The Dark Knight, The Royal Tenenbaums. These are those intro films that get you to start asking, what else does film have to offer? And then once that first movie hooks you, you start seeking out more and more diverse films. Whether it be foreign films, whether it be older films, whether it be experimental films. Until suddenly you find yourself so far down the rabbit hole that you're binging Jean Delmont one afternoon. The point is, gateway films are an instrumental part. They're the bridge that can allow people to expand their knowledge and expand their interest in cinema as a whole. The Academy has kind of a mixed record of rewarding true gateway movies the past couple of years. In my mind, the perfect example was Everything Everywhere All at Once. It was really accessible, wildly entertaining, but also super emotionally resonant, especially with the younger generations raised by the internet. Not only that, it used a language of cinematic history and references that provided the perfect roadmap for novice cinephiles to seek out the inspirations and learn more. And then last year, Anora winning Best Picture was a great moment for true indies, as it inspired a lot of people to seek out what kind of cinema exists outside the corporate studio system. And who could forget Parasite, the ultra-accessible, ultra-relevant, ultra-entertaining, but also ultra-thought-provoking film that made a lot of people less scared of subtitles, which we love. So what does that mean for this year? Well, for my money, I think there are 3 great choices to make a perfect gateway movie. Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, and Sinners. I would be so happy if any of these 3 win, because I think they're all really great movies that are also stylistically bold enough to inspire people to look further and look past what they're already watching. There's a lot of talk about the state of the industry and a lot of doomers saying that we're in a death spiral, but I think the number one best thing we can do to save the movies is to keep bringing people in. It means giving them an accessible entry point to introduce them to the broad world of cinema. So what does this mean for you? This means you gotta grab one of your normie friends, sit them down, show them a gateway movie, and get them hooked for life! Subscribe, please.